I don't like Oliver. I think he's gonna break bad and become evil, which is kind of alarming since I think he is stronger than Mark already, or he's about to become stronger than Mark. I haven't read the comics and I don't plan on it because I don't want to spoil the story for myself. So on today's video, we're gonna be looking at Oliver's descent into evil, answering the question, is he stronger than Mark since you know he is half Viltrumite and half cockroach, while Mark is only half Viltrumite, half human. And we'll look at his weird obsession with Omni-Man. I get it, that's his dad, but kid, think about it. Think, Oliver, think. I will say, with his personality though, he would fit right into Viltrumite ideology and society if only they didn't find his kind to be so disgusting.
With these disgusting creatures?
So let's start with why I think Oliver is stronger than Mark. While both of them are half Viltrumite, Oliver is half Thracian, while Mark is half human like the rest of us, and that's where the biggest difference lies between the two of them. Oliver's Thracian genetics allows him to gain all the characteristics of his species with none of the side effects. For example, he gets to look more humanoid instead of looking like a purple bug, and we see his rapid growth rate. Oliver is only a few months old, but he is aged to that of a 10-year-old, and even then, at the super young age of 3 months, or roughly 10 years old if we're going by appearances, he already has his powers. Mark didn't get his powers until he was a senior in high school. Remember the first season of Invincible? Even then, Mark was getting smacked around by the Maulers in season 1, but this season we saw what Oliver did to them boys. Even after they begged him for mercy, he smacked them now. Even though Mark is stronger now than he was last season, they made a point of pointing out how much stronger Mark was in the first episode when Cecil was training Mark in that montage. But I think that was done not to show how strong Mark had become, but to show us, the audience, how powerful Oliver is since he can keep up with Mark. Because we saw after he finished off the Maulers, he was able to fly faster than Mark. Mark even commented just how fast Oliver was, and instead of catching him, Mark had to cut him off. Maybe hinting that Mark couldn't flat out catch him without overexerting. What I think it is I think the Viltrumite DNA mixed with the Thracian one is a super powerful combination. Remember, Nolan explained how Viltrumites don't age as fast as humans and can live for centuries. The older they get, the stronger they become. Well, with Oliver's Thracian lineage, he is able to age rapidly faster than Mark or any other Viltrumite for that matter, gaining all the years of strength in a matter of months. Even though eventually, according to his babysitter April, his aging process will slow down, kind of like the other Viltrumites, once he becomes a quote-unquote teenager. I say teenager, quote unquote, because he'll probably look like a teenager, but he'll only be like 4 months old. But that doesn't stop the fact that he is going to keep aging at a faster rate than Mark, surpassing him in power if he hasn't already done so already. He is literally the perfect combination of species to gain maximum power. Half Viltrumite, half Thracian. Who would have ever thought being half bug would be an advantage? But let's not get into the whole exoskeleton and the power of bugs if you magnify it to the proportions of humans. So you can see why Oliver is becoming as powerful as he is. But is he becoming evil? Well then, let's talk about Oliver's morality a bit. Because even though they're both being raised by the same mom, Oliver is already a liar, he doesn't listen, and doesn't value human lives. He really does sound like Kid Omni-Man. So yeah, maybe he wasn't that far off when he came up with that name. Let's look at the evidence. When he first got his powers, he hid them from his mom and brother. There wasn't a real reason for him to do that except for establishing the fact that he's willing to lie and deceive the people closest to him. The only family he has, and he was also training while hiding the fact that he had powers. Granted, it wasn't any formal training, he's just a kid watching YouTube videos, but it showed his intentions to take matters into his own hands. Which brings us to his encounter with the Maulers. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, the Maulers were my favorite characters, and maybe that's why I'm so rough on Oliver, because he mercilessly beat up and killed the Maulers, even though one of them surrendered, and that's where we get a glimpse of Oliver's real personality. Not only was he callous with the killing of the Maulers, the first thing he did when Mark confronted him was lie. If the Guardians weren't there, he would have gotten away with it too. Side note, if the Guardians knew what was good for them, they might have wanted to mind their own business, because the last time they discovered a Viltrumite's true intentions, Omni-Man killed them all, and the Immortal was there, so he knows what's up. So I don't know if it's a good idea for them to get in Viltrumite business and get another one of them mad. The question is though, is Oliver heading down the same path as Nolan, aka Omni-Man? He seems to be trending that way. And it's not lost on me that he's dressed like Robin, which makes me think of Jason Todd, aka the Red Hood, the second Robin, who became a vigilante that kills as he sees it's better for the overall fight against evil. Now, my personal feelings aside, I subscribe to the Punisher School of Law. But that's neither here nor there. That mentality is not what the Earth or Mark's family wants from him. But it is something that the Viltrumites want more than anything. Because remember back in season 2 when Anissa came to visit Mark? Aside from the beatdown that Mark would receive, she explains how they would help the Earth. That if they controlled it with their power, they could bring a lasting peace. Mark wasn't having any of that, but you know who would? Oliver. It sounds exactly like the school of thought that he would subscribe to. She even teased that there was an even more worse Viltrumite coming, which is what I think is going to happen with Oliver. Later in the season, I believe that he will join the Viltrumites, which when Nolan and Alan escapes is going to put him in an interesting position. Will Nolan choose his son Mark or choose his Viltrumite heritage and his new son Oliver? Again, I have not read the comics and I don't plan on it. This is just pure speculation, but I think Nolan will end up choosing Mark. I wouldn't be surprised if he killed Oliver himself. Mark isn't going to do it, and while Oliver is Nolan's son, Nolan barely knew him or his bug mom if we're being honest. Granted, Nolan is a changed man, but given the choice between the son that he actually raised and Oliver, I think he's choosing Mark 9 times out of 10. But that's just my thoughts on all of it. I would love to hear your thoughts about it in the comment section below. What do you think is going to happen to Oliver the rest of the season? Do you think he's stronger than Mark? And do you think Nolan is going to choose Oliver over Mark? Will Oliver join the Viltrumites? So many different ways this season can go. I'm super excited to see all of it, and I'd love to hear your feedback in the comment section below. So guys, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and until next time, peace.